Well, here we go again. It's an exciting day here at Smartwatch. I swear, every day is becoming an exciting day. I can't believe how many watches are coming in. And they're all awesome. Something new and unique in each one. That's what I look for, hopefully, when we ask for these. So, what are we unboxing today? A smartwatch. Go figure, huh? Okay, it's all sealed up. If this is what I think it might be, this has the potential of being quite revolutionary. Let's see. Yeah. You know what you're looking at? The future. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here we go. Let's pull it out. Let's take a look. Let's peel off the plastic. And let's take a closer look. Oh, it's electrostatic. What fun. I don't know if you can see in this light, but there's a little dot up here at the top. And a little dot on the front of a watch or a phone usually means a camera. Now, the unique thing about this is in the write-up of the Z80, it said that this puppy could do conferencing using that camera. Wow, this is a nice, really smooth design. It feels good all over. It's like, wow, cuddle material. It's stretchy. It's different than most of the silicone, and it goes over the whole body of the watch. Interesting. Charging adapter, heart rate monitor. Looks like charging port that has a cover. Speakers. It's black, so it's kind of hard to see all that. And 2 buttons. What else is in the box? We have got a cable with a completely different charging dock and a SIM card ejector kind of thing. All right, let's look at the charging dock. There's a couple of lines here. There's a couple of lines there. I bet you line it up and you just put it on there like that. Now, kind of doesn't like go right into place, but it does seem to connect there with little bumps on the charger. Okay, there we go. You think, no, that's a USB connector port, but this has got an ejector thing like you would use to push out the SIM card on the side of your iPhone. You've seen these before. No idea why this is in the box. Maybe we'll find out. All right, what else is in here? We have a manual that calls itself a smartwatch. You notice when it just says smartwatch, it probably means that this thing could be branded by different companies and released as different named watches. So you might be seeing this as a different named product. It's possible. It's happened before. Here's a quick look at our manual. I like to do this, so if you want to freeze frame it and read the manual on this watch, you can. And here we go. Talking about time display. Looks like it has some different watch faces in here. Phone book, SMS, pedometer. Says you can write message, check inbox, outbox, all that. Of course, if you have a SIM card installed, that's typically what happens. It's not common on these kind of watches to be able to do that tethering, however. But we don't know. We're just starting out on this one. More stuff on how to set the GPS data on the watch. Shake wrist to light up screen. All right. It has an emergency SOS call capability. That's something kind of new. Here's our product specs. Leave that a little bit longer. 450 milliamp battery is nice. Bluetooth 4.0. Living waterproof. I don't know what IP rating that is, but we'll find out. Some more precautions and a product warranty. And then we've got it in another language. So that's the manual. That's the charging dock. And this is the watch. We're going to charge it up and turn it on and see what it'll do. Whoa, wait a minute. Not so fast. I didn't talk about this. In fact, I just finished this whole video and was going back checking it out in final editing, and I remember this was in the box and we never talked about it. And somebody's going to ask me, what's that for, Mr. Tix? Well, you remember when we started looking at the watch, of course you do, you just watched this, that I talked about there being this charging dock that we connected to the bottom, and that's how you charged it. But it had this slot here that I said was maybe for charging, and guess what? It's not. This is really cool. A few watches have had this, and when you pop it open, you find an empty slot that is designed specifically for your nano SD card. So you know what this means. Unlike many of the other ones where you have to take the screws out in the back, take the back cover off, open and put in the SIM card. I've showed you that video over video, all of them. You don't have to do that here. You could actually take the SIM card out of your phone, especially if your phone has a side compartment that you can put your SIM card in directly, just like this one. Anyway, you could take your SIM card out of your phone and move it over here to your watch. Boom. And put it inside. Close it up, turn it on, and you're good to go with your own phone SIM now in your watch without having to take it apart at all. No dedicating a SIM to the watch, in other words. If it works, if it's all set up, you got it made. Wow, what do I say about it? It's the Z80, and it's available to us from Gearbest, and they have provided this. We've really been trying to get this for a long time, and now we do. Have it here, and it's available with a link in the show notes for you to pick it up at a good price, all right? When it boots up right now, because I just booted it up, I have two different options to boot into. One of them is a new launcher called Launcher 10. Why 10? Because it's based on Windows 10. Watch this. When I touch that and I load it into there, I get a layout that I've set up for my own use. You could set up your own as well with specific apps that I really like to use, like Super Mute, which I touch and it will immediately mute any sounds, all of them. The screen filter, which will dim the screen and brighten it again. Or this one, which will turn the screen off. I mean, you don't even have to use the buttons anymore. I've got the time and date. Surrounding that is the volume, which will let me, of course, adjust the volume levels. And then down below, I use this when I eat out, so I got a tip chart to just, figure tips. Open Camera, which is a different app that I'm using than the stock camera for taking pictures. I'll tell you why in a bit. And the gallery to look at the pictures that I use there. Below that, I've got some of my resources like ABC News, if I want to keep up with the news. InShorts, which is another kind of more broad news feed that gives you everything in about 250 words, which fits nicely on the screen. Django, music player for playing tunes. And then I've got a widget. This is actually widgets that you can install here. Kind of sensitive. It says I've taken 26 steps, so I put the pedometer widget on just for fun. And I can always go and just add apps and pick out something like my Apis browser. I press and hold the Apis browser and pin it to the start. And now it shows up as part of the whole process here, which I could then move it around wherever I want and tap on it to launch it. So as far as getting to the things you want quickly, this is a sweet little layout, and it's called Launcher 10. I am great on any square watch, pretty all right on round ones, although the edges can be cut off, but you can kind of fix that by making them in certain positions. But that's a different launcher, and that has nothing to do with the watch. So it's a special way of setting it up with apps that I really particularly like. So I set up so that I can just swipe up and change back to my main activity if I like, in which case I go to my stock watch faces. This is what we all came to see. What does this watch look like and what does it do? First of all, the parade of watch faces. That's the first one, called black metal. Here's elegant, a round watch face on the square watch layout. We've got dynamic, which is showing the time in circles with dots going all the way around. Takes a while to get into that one. Here's a fashion layout with the bright white against black. That's great for outdoors. Fluorescent, which is great for indoors, is a softer watch face. Blue brings up the battery level and your steps, which is great, day of the week and time. And simple blue, just what it says. These are the kind you can kind of look at and see how well the screen is visible from angles, right? And Tyrant Gold. Perhaps in a gold framed watch, this would look really elegant. Here's a bright white one, if that's your calling. Good to be used as a flashlight at night. You know how that goes. And that's it. Okay, so which one are we going to drop onto? Let's just take the first one, black metal, because it's got my battery monitor on it. Now, if I slide to the left, I get my tunes so I can play music. I got the weather icon to check weather. It can go into systems. And this one, I'm not really sure. It goes back and forth. It looks like it's the twist thing. So I think when it's like that, it's set up so that if you twist your arm, it'll light up and tell you the time. But we just have those 4 default icons. You can't press them and change them. They don't go anywhere. This is going to www.cnwave.com. That's interesting, to play music, I presume. I got a feeling that's an installed song that they just put in here to play with. But who knows? Swiping to the left tends to take us back. Weather icon, you press that. It'll give you the AccuWeather weather low information for your location. We talked about that one. And then there's it calls it settings, but it's more the global thing about setting things up. You have no SIM in there. Bluetooth is connected. There's Wi-Fi connected, the battery and its power. The silence mode versus volume mode. You can have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and that radio antenna thing. I'm not sure. Is that cellular? But we don't have a SIM card. Then we've got this one, which is that hand bright on thing. That's the one where you flip it and it'll turn it on automatically. And then airplane mode. Our brightness can go way down for night. Mid seems to be about right for shooting on the video. And of course, if I do that, it washes everything out. You can't hardly see it. So we'll shoot it mid. Okay, nothing in between. But then again, I have other apps that I can install to override that. And you have full control of the brightness. Okay, so those are the 4 squares that you get by sliding to the left from the main panel. Right? And going down doesn't do anything, and going up, only because I've installed it, lets us switch to the other launcher. So, if we go to the right, check this out. I bet you've never seen your apps like this, unless you have a Mac, and they show up across the bottom like that. This is a cool and different layout, showing you all of your applications with their name down below. And they're linear. And you can't change the order of them. They're just there. There are a couple of other layouts that we can look at, the 4x, layout, but this is pretty nice. It's just that you got to jump in and slide to try to figure out where you are. And if you have a lot of apps in there, that's going to be hard. So let's take a look at the apps that are installed here. We have the basic phone dialer. Again, this ties in with the SIM card. It's not for tethering. And you have not only the numbers, but the letters underneath each of the numbers, too. Pretty cool. Next, you have your contacts, which if you go in, you'll see all your contacts, which mine are already populated in there, so we'll skip that. Messaging, again, if you have a SIM card in there, you'll have the conversations that you're using like you would on your phone. We have our settings area. Let's go ahead and run through them. How's about? We have basic sound, where you have your volumes that you can, of course, set all of your levels. Very similar to everything we've seen before. You have your watch ringtones, lots and lots and lots of them. And once again, we have several videos out that are showing and listening to each and every one of these. So you can find those already on this channel. Same thing with the default sounds for notifications. And it's pretty darn loud. So you have a huge selection of notification sounds to go through too, from none, if you want to turn them all off, all the way down. Okay, so notification sounds, watch ringtones, and then you can have it vibrate for incoming calls just as well. We've seen all that before. This is starting to look very similar. Brightness level allows you to adjust the brightness with a slider, but hey, anybody notice that? How long's that been there? Huh? Yeah, I took a break and I installed some more software. In fact, I lost the other launcher we were looking at. Remember Launcher 10? That's gone. And in its place, I've now put this launcher. Yes, we have more to talk about, don't we? Don't go away. Don't get bored, okay? So we can sleep after... I love to put it at 30 minutes, then it doesn't go out on me when I'm talking. And here is the launcher style. So you've been looking at how it's laid out somewhat like a Macintosh at the bottom, you know. We can change it from fancy to matrix. And if we do that, you'll notice that the apps now are in your standard matrix format like we've seen before. Very familiar with that. And under display... under launcher style, if you want to go through the list one by one, we could do that. Yeah? So you have that level of control, but this is just way too cool. So I'm going to keep it back in the display on fancy. Now, sleep time. Okay. The connection is like we've seen before, your Bluetooth connection and cellular networks if you have a SIM card in there, Wi-Fi, blah, blah, blah. Okay, in airplane mode, your GPS. You can turn on the mode for high accuracy, and these are the apps that I have installed that are requesting it. You can help Google find you. You can do all those things, Google Play Store, Play Services, location. All that will be highly populated with high accuracy. It's going to eat more of your battery, but it's got GPS built into it, folks. So if you're doing mapping and things like that, that's great. If you're seeing battery issues and you don't really care about location services, hop in here under GPS and turn it off. Okay? Simple as that. One good thing for you to know about extending your battery life. Another one is to adjust that brightness down. Okay, I'm at 15% roughly there, and that's plenty bright for the camera getting the right contrast, but I can adjust it now with the app called Display Brightness. We'll run into that as we go through. Clock settings, you have the default clock, which is which one you select by pressing and holding. You can select it from there, and of course you can set up your date and time to be automatic and automatic time zone, or select your time zone manually, and all of those things. So our call settings have to do with having a SIM card in there. We don't have one, so they're all shaded out. And power savings. Again, if you want to save power, turn that thing on, and it will help in the long run save power. And you can open the flip bright screen, which is the one that will allow the watch to give you the time when you turn it over. You can check mark that, and that'll activate. Language and input. We've done this before. You can select the current keyboard. You can install your own keyboard, you know. You could use the one that's in here already. It's using the English Android keyboard on this particular watch, and theoretically, if you install different speaking voices, you could also change the voices too, although I don't see that here, which is a good reminder to make sure we talk about that when we get to installing the app Settings Search. Oh, you're going to want that app more than anything else. You're going to want Settings Search. Not only can it save you from bricking your phone, it can also give you some cool stuff you can do, like this. Boom! Boom! All because of Settings Search. So, reset equipment is what it sounds like. You go through and reset your whole phone. And uninstall applications is the very lame option to just select an app and uninstall it or not. But that's all you can do. Again, Settings Search will let you do a whole lot more, so you're not even going to want to use that. Wow, my fire alarm is going off. That is so cool. I better check and see what that's about. Okay, problem solved. Some of you know I raise little baby lizards, and sometimes they're born and they tend to go high up before they settle down, and that's where smoke detectors are. So our little friend found himself a way to excite this video. Yeah, I could record it all over again, but oh well. Reality TV here, right? So uninstall applications. You really don't want to use that. You're going to use Settings Search. Developer options. A couple of things to say about that. If it's on, which I guess it was, if it's on, it tells you and warns you that this is for development only, and they're not kidding, because you can do some pretty good damage to your watch that you can't recover from. However, if you want to have it to display the time when the watch is plugged into charging, you can turn that feature on. That's the only one I would mess with. There's another one sometimes people play with that they think plugging it into the PC in order to see your files, you need to turn on USB debugging. You don't. The way watches work, it's best if it's turned off. If you're, there we get focus. If you're not able to get your connection to the PC, it might be because that is on. So I suggest coming in here and just turning that thing off if it's on. You really don't need developer options. This is new, this one key SOS. That's this bottom button, and this is where you can come in here, turn on that SOS function, and set up the SOS message that you would like to go out and add somebody's phone number that then you would be able to call simply by hitting that one key SOS. All right? Not much more on that. That's something you just have to explore and find out. And I'm going to also turn it off because I don't want that feature active right now. There we go. All right, and finally about this equipment, we are running a Z80 with watch number, signal, etc. status. It's running Android 5.1, and that is the current system update of 2016, August 1st, 0801. Very recent. So that's all there is about settings. Let's come back in here and keep moving. Settings takes us to camera. Hey, you want to be on camera? Come out here for a second. He's in with his brothers and sisters who have yet to hatch. Come on. Up you go. Up you go. That's it. That's it. That's it. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Let's do a selfie. Aw. Aw, yeah. Camera, hello, where are you? There we go. Ah, there I am too. Hello, everybody. And here is little Lizzie. Smile, smile for everybody. Let's take a picture. Well, we'll get under your chin. You like to go upside down? They do. They climb upside down all the time. So I'm just going to turn him upside down and try to get a picture here. Okay. Can you just climb on the camera? Oh, that's good. All right. Thank you. Nice little lizard. So, just so we have it, we got a couple of pictures there with the stock camera. We go into gallery and here we go. There's our first picture. Nice, huh? Now remember that triple tap thing that I have set up? Whoops, that was 2. 1, 2, 3. There's Lizzie. And if you 1, 2, 3 and hold it, you can zoom around and you can take a look at them any which way you like to. So simple camera, simple operation for taking pictures. And the really cool thing, should we do it now or at the end? You want it now? No, I'm going to save it for the end. The really cool thing is that you can use this camera with other apps so you can do video conferencing. And I have a little 1-minute video up already that shows that, and I'm going to paste it at the end of this one for those of you who haven't seen it so that you can explore. All right, we're going to go down to the cage. I'll be right back. Okay, let's keep moving now. We got a lot to cover. Here we go, whipping through here too fast. Come back here. It's really sensitive too, so very responsive. We did gallery. The browser is your basic browser. You get it all set up. It'll bring you in. And look, it's in English for the first time. Yeah, we don't go to those strange Chinese websites. You can actually go to common places that easily identifiable. And of course, if you're on Wi-Fi, you get instant access. He says instant access, okay, with pictures and everything. Different articles, and you can go into them. So your basic browser. There you go. I don't know if you can see all that stuff. We won't go into detail. Just today's news. Yeah, not going back. There, browser. Your file manager, of course, is where you can store up to about 4 gigabytes worth of stuff, right? I've used almost 2. I have 3.8, about 5 gigabytes. So it's an 8 gigabyte thing. You subtract off the operating system, you add those together. That's pretty much what you've got. The green is what's available. You touch it to go into it. And then you have all the different categories where you have all your stuff, okay? And I've got a bunch of apps that I download and then I install directly into it, so makes it faster than having to go to the Google Play Store every time. The weather app will take you and show you your local weather. The sound recorder app is just what it says, a simple one. This is a recording test of the Z80 G3 smartwatch to see how well it sounds. Save it. And play it. Oh, I think I'm recording a second one. All right, we'll bail out of this one and play the first one. Just discard that, he says. So I got to hit that to get to my list of recordings. Wow, I got a couple of them in there. Let's try that one. Must have been recording while I was walking. That's interesting. Here's the one we just did.
This is a recording test of the Z80 G3 smartwatch to see how well it sounds.
You know what? I think the first one was, they recorded it before I got it. I don't know. That's interesting. Really loud, really good. Sounds nice and clean. Very nice. Music, we'll play any installed music, and we've got that loud one there. That's their little music clip for demo purposes. We have, after that music, a clock, which is really alarms. This is where you would set your daily alarms, not your watch faces. Then a lame calendar, just your basic calendar that shows the current date, scrolls up and down, shows you maybe holidays, I don't know. But that's it. You can't really do much with it. Your basic calculator. Whoops, I got that 3-tap thing going, so I have to tap slower. Multiply it by, I don't know, some number and get an equal. And there's your total. So simple calculator, but it looks like the calculations scrolled off the screen. Few different kind of implementations. A downloads area, which is usually empty unless you download some things. And then our health. Or our pedometer. So the pedometer is the number of steps. You can put in your data for your height and all that other stuff and get your caloric burn, capability. And then your history. Looks like back on the 19th, there was a decent amount of walking going on. I think that's when I first got this. And after the pedometer comes your reminders, which is your sedentary reminder stuff, how frequently to do these different things. It's really just a set of alarms that are built in that you can go in and modify and activate as necessary. And then they've given them titles. Nothing more than a fancy alarm clock. Your heart rate monitor on the back, okay, has the two little things here. One's a diode and one picks up the heart information. So it's about time to show you what this thing looks like strapped on. And we slide it in. It's a nice silicone band. Again, for heart rate, you don't want it too tight. You want it loose, but not so loose that it doesn't make contact. So that seems like about right. Let's give it a whirl. Heart rate. Wear it. It says it's checking. Are we in focus? There we go. 63. All right. I like that. Not too bad. There's some previous histories from way back in January 1st, it says, I guess, when they were testing it. Let's do another one. Consistency in measurement is one of the indicators I use as to whether or not this is even halfway decent in the answers that you're getting. 69. Usually, they recommend you take 3 and you average them. Oh, wait a minute. That's on your blood pressure because, you know, your pulse is doing its thing. Anyway, probably a good idea on here. Now, see, they're jumping all over the place. And I'm just sitting here, not doing much. So, unlike really sophisticated ones like the doctor uses on your fingertip, these arm-based ones still are notoriously challenging to get an accurate number. But nonetheless, if you like numbers and you want to play a random game, you got a nice heart rate monitor in there. Tools comes in when we talk about tethering. And Bluetooth is how we hook them up. You can do remote camera, remote music, find your phone, and this is the barcode that gets scanned. So I've done a separate piece already on that, and I'm going to insert it right now. One of the common tethering apps that's used in many of these smartwatches, particularly the new version of the more expensive Android 5.1 watches, is Cinware. Cinware is an app that you download after scanning the barcode or going directly to the Google Play Store, and you install it on your phone. You get the two devices tethered together, and then you test it out. And if it's working, you'll get a ringing sound, okay? You probably also get a notification. The thing is, this is one of the worst tethering apps out there, but it's the default standard. It's being used right now. You have a fine panel that isn't even working. You have your basic home page. You have an About Me, which really is just to check for updates and use help. And your home page. The whole top part's about connecting the app up, and it'll show your steps if you have your pedometer on. You have a couple of other things like your remote control settings if you want to be able to remotely control the camera. You've seen that where you can take a picture from your watch looking at the image that's on your camera and save that image to the phone. You have a remote control player. Those things are optional, but that's kind of standard with all of the tethering apps. You can send pictures. It brings up your gallery, and you can send specific pictures to your watch. That's kind of nice. So you can have a gallery view here to show folks recent pictures if you'd like to on your watch, but taken and put into from your phone. And your applications alert. And unfortunately, when you go into that, it starts to load up all of your applications so you can decide which ones to keep, which ones to turn off. And in general, it crashes if you have very many. If you are lucky, I was this time, has been crashing all the other times, you get the list of all of your apps with a check mark beside them, meaning that they're going to be included for sending notifications. But look, folks, there's no way to select all or none. You have to go through every single one of your apps and turn them off one by one if you don't want them to be sending notifications to your watch. Really lame implementation, and it actually gets worse. I want to show you what happens when you place a call to your watch. I have a SIM card in there, and I'm going to load it up and send a test call. It's going to go, the call's going to go to the phone, and the phone's going to receive that call, and then it's going to do its transmission over here. So the call's coming in. I'm not getting anything other than a resume call. And it just says speaker, speaker. I can't do anything if I touch it. If I try to say open, I just get more garbage and nothing. And then I'm getting a notice from InShorts, which is one of the news apps that I've got in there. That notification had nothing to do with the phone call. So, I mean, you really, the best you can do is get notice that a call came in, but you can't answer it. You only get one vibration, and you can't really deal with it. And as far as I know, it's even worse with text messaging. So, if you are unfortunate enough to get a watch that uses Cinware as the tethering application, it's the same app. No matter what watch it's on, you're going to get the same lack of connectivity. It's just the way it's done right now. This is one of the major ones, so keep an eye out in the directions and instructions for a watch you're interested in buying. If it says it tethers using Cinware at this time, that's a bad news for you. It means you're going to have very little tethering whatsoever. Okay, we're back again. From the tools, we go into the theme. You notice that background? It's that theme. So you can choose different themes. That is basically the background that you float over, right? I've been wanting to get to this so that I could change to that pretty rainbow theme right there. Or would you like the lavender? Nah. Any more? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a few. Look at that. There's a wavy one. All right, we'll go with that one. So easy to set your themes. Google Play Store is just what it says it is. You're just loading up the Google Play Store, and you can go in and download apps, do whatever you'd like. And it's full rectangle, so you can get to all of the things that you need to tap, which has always been a challenge on a round phone. Okay. Open Camera. We're now getting into the apps I've installed. Open Camera is a different version of the camera app that I like in particular because when you take a picture, you can set it up so that it'll freeze that picture on the screen, and then you can choose to keep it or throw it away. Just hit the trash can and I can throw it away and start all over again. And a lot of other things. You have better control over the size of the image that you're going to be taking and other things. So Open Camera is my substitute for the other camera. Google Hangouts was what we used to do the little video clip. You want to see that now? All right, here's Google Hangouts in action.
Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. I'd like to introduce myself. Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Ticks. And this is the first time I'm saying hi to you because I kind of made a promise I wouldn't do this until I could actually hold my arm up like I'm reading the time on my watch and say hi. So hi! Welcome to the Z80. I'm doing a Hangouts talk and you're looking at the receiving end of the conversation from my watch. Want to see what it looks like the other way? All right, here we go. Here I am. There's the background. Sun is rising, it's a beautiful morning, and this is what the audio sounds like, this is what the video looks like. Well, this is just a teaser. You're going to see a lot more as I really load this watch up with everything I can throw at it. In the meantime, you can take a look at the links below this little teaser and order yourself one from Gearbest, our supporting supplier of this Z80 watch. And if you don't, you can wait for the full review, but they might be out of stock. This is a hot watch. We'll see you in the full review real soon. Thanks for watching.
Isn't that fun? That's what you can do with a front-facing camera that can interface with software. Moving along in the apps, this is the display brightness app that when you activate it, he says, gives you all these capabilities, and this is that little slider I have on the side that I can adjust the overall brightness. We have lots of videos on that. Just download display brightness, decide where you want this, at the top, side, or bottom. I moved it to the right. I usually have it on the left, but the left is used so often to go back and do things that the right was just better. This is the screen off button that will turn the screen off, and it has its own control icon along with it. I won't touch that, otherwise it'll turn it off. Floating Launcher 3 is exactly what you saw when I did that swipe up, and this is the launcher that lays on top of this current launcher. Oh, not again. All right, we'll be back. Lizards. Okay, let's see if we can get through this now. Floating Launcher 3, it's a launcher that floats on top. You have, like, this is a widget you can put on here. You can put apps on here. You have multiple pages. You have some of these that don't ever change. You can tap on that to add any apps that you want to by just grabbing, holding, and dropping it on the page, and there it is. You can add multiple pages by dragging them over. There's a lot you can do with this. And all of these different things in here, like this one is my power off. Boom. Simple as that. I turn the watch off. This is that screen dimming thing. We'll get all those. They're coming up yet. But anyway, that's it. Floating Launcher 3. And you just swipe it and it goes away. Really like that. Even better than that Launcher 10 that we had. And when you have that put in and this dimming, brighting thing on the side, display brightness, you really have some complete control and turn this into a very easy to use functional device without having to scroll forever to look for the common apps that you're going to use. So, moving on. Of course, YouTube. You can bring that up and play YouTube video clips. And of course, if you're on a Wi-Fi network, you're going to get great quality. And I have no idea. Let's just play one. Make it big, plenty of volume, plenty of movement. That just shows you the processor in here is doing a great job of keeping up with the video, as well as the GPS, or not GPS, but the Wi-Fi. Hello, the Wi-Fi circuitry does, keeping up with it. So that's YouTube. I have that in there primarily because one of my news sources, In Shorts, has videos and it needs it to play. Google Maps will show you your location. I have not checked the GPS on this. Swipe home button is the app that I use to make it so that when you swipe it, it'll do things. Like right now, it shuts off if I swipe up. That's another quick way of turning it off. If I swipe up to the left, I bring in my launcher. If I swipe up to the right, I bring in that dimming thing because sometimes it doesn't stay on, and I have to do that just to make it come back. Okay, there's the control for the screen off that you saw that I actually used to set it up so that I can activate it by pushing the button or sliding. A lot of little fun things. There's that screen filter that slightly dims or brightens the screen. App backup and restore, so you can back all these apps up and then offload them to the computer and bring them back in and easily set them up. ABC News, why? Because it's easily readable on the screen. It's one of the few that gives you good size lettering. Apis browsers, my browser substitute of choice. A lot of reasons. Play with it. Not the turbo, mind you, just the straight app one. Breathing Zone is an app that lets you regulate your breathing. Then we come to Floating Toucher. I haven't even installed this one. No need to. This is the one that puts that little dot on the side. Usually on the round watches, you can touch and bring up another overlay of a launcher, similar but different than the Floating Launcher 3. I'm going to delete that. Don't even need it. Gesture search is something you're going to want in here along with the settings search app. For various reasons, you'll find out later, I'm sure. Mobizen Mirroring is an app that you can use to allow you to control your watch from a computer. You definitely need that on the round watches to get to these hidden corners, but it works well here also on the square watch. This is a fun little red candle if you want to have just an iconic thing that shows you a candle that you can light. And take to a concert, whatever you want to do, and smoke. It's just kind of a fun little thing, not really useful. Beyond that, settings search, we talked a lot about that. I just want to show you that you can get in here, go into accessibility, scroll down past all those things to where you get to magnification gestures. Turn that on if you want that triple tap feature that lets you get your text big or look in on pictures. Okay, you can't get to it otherwise, so you want to use settings search for that. Here's Skype that you can use just like Messenger with the camera. Here's a speech to clipboard app. I'll let you kind of control the phone with speech as long as you're on the network. There's that super mute that we showed you that can silence everything. Tippy Tipper is a fun little tip calculator. Whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself. Play with that if you want to. That's the one I would recommend as a good tip calculator for a watch. The volume control lets you adjust several of the layers of volume that you have access to and set those to your heart's desire. And Django is a radio player thingy, so you can log in and, just like a Spotify or any of the others, just play whatever songs you want, which I can't play for very long, or they'll put ads on top of this video, which I don't want them to do, but good volume. And of course, it'll keep playing if you leave it in the app and have it playing. So those are my favorites, a variety of them that you can work with. Again, on the left-hand side, you got all those things. We covered those. In the middle, you got the watch faces. You can press and hold and change them to whatever you want. And you can go over here, the way I've got it set up, and bring up an overlay launcher on any of these screens to bring up whatever app you'd like to look at. Well, I'm sure many of you are wondering just how fast is this little puppy. So we're going to run the AnTuTu benchmark test and find out. Okay, I'm going to start it, and then you're going to see the numbers. Okay, there we go. 15,441. It's comparable with all the other Android 5.1 watches, the round ones that have half a gigabyte of RAM and 4 gigabytes of ROM. Not quite as high as we get with the 1 gigabyte RAM, 8 gigabyte ROM watches. However, it is definitely much faster than the Android 4.4 watches. So, that's it. This is the Z80 3G watch with all these good things installed, and we got it for you at an excellent price, actually. This comes to us from Gearbest, and right now I understand they got a flash sale going on, and guess what? They're even giving us a better price than the flash sale. So depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching it like right now and it just came out, use that link down below, hop over there and check the pricing at Gearbest. You probably get the best deal you can right now. If you're watching this much later, well, still try the link and head on over to Gearbest and check out what their current price is. Thank you for watching. This is an awesome watch, the Z80. Catch you later.